David, thank you very much for joining us today. For those of you who don't know who I'm with David Swenson, who is one of the foremost authorities in the Ashtanga Yoga community today. David, we're all enjoying the teacher training here, and I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. What got you started with your yoga practice?
You know, I began yoga when I was 13 in Texas, and we learned from whatever books we could find. My brother became interested in yoga when he was visiting Southern California. This was 1969, I said. And so there wasn't a lot of resource, but we took what we could. We had a book called Yoga, Youth, and Reincarnation we studied from. Swami Satchidananda's book. Richard Hittleman had a yoga book. So we practiced in the park. And you know, this was Texas, and it was very odd for people to see us doing yoga. So there were times that people actually called the police if they saw us doing yoga out there.
Wow. You know, I'm coming at this whole thing from a martial arts perspective. Many of our viewers and many of my readers are martial artists themselves, and one of the things that I try to do is take things that I learn here from, from your various workshops that I've been to about preservation of your knees, building strength through breath, those types of things, and bring them back to my martial artists who may be suffering with some of the same things. What would you tell someone who is involved in martial arts training, very, very physical activity, who's a little bit reluctant to start yoga practice, but who might be thinking about it?
I find them very complementary to each other. I've also done some martial arts in my time. When I was a kid, I'd say 12, 13 years old, I practiced judo, judo. Later I get into taekwondo. I did that for some time. I've also done a little bit of capoeira. I went to Brazil. And
oh, wow.
It was all fun. I've always enjoyed it. I respect martial artists. Martial artists have a lot of discipline and understanding of the respect for tradition and teachers and so forth. So there's a lot of very similar parts. Yeah. And I remember I had my taekwondo teacher, Master Kim Soo, which is probably the name of every taekwondo teacher. But he had me do yoga demonstrations sometimes at the big martial arts events because they really were related. If you think about it, we use different terminology, but in many martial arts talk about ki or chi energy from the center, and we use the central core of the body. We talk about bandhas and energy movement in the body. We try to learn to push and pull the energy so it's not just muscles. Also, flexibility is a good component, and breath as well. And I remember in martial arts, if you're punching, there was usually a huh or hi-ha or whatever to accentuate the movement. But if we can learn to use the breath, even within the movement, whether it's explosive or not, the breath will affect the quality of the movement. Also, these awarenesses will help us to avoid injury, learning how to control from the core of the body to protect the back. Knees are, of course, an issue. It's important to keep them flexible but also strong. So there are many facets of yoga that I think are very beneficial for martial artists as well.
Excellent. I think you've summed it up greatly. Actually, some of the posts that I've been doing this week have related to just about everything that you just said. And I know I want to keep it brief because you want to get to your own practice today. And I guess the final question that I have for you is, after all this time and all the wonderful people that you've studied with and things like that, what keeps you coming back to your yoga practice? Where do you find the most joy in it right now?
You know, for me, yoga is a tool. It's a tool for life. And I think of it also like, say it's like brushing your teeth. Brushing my teeth is not particularly exciting, right? But if I don't, my mouth feels terrible, my teeth decay, whatever. So you think of yoga like flossing for the brain or flossing for the mind. And so we do the activity. It might not be particularly exciting every day, but when I practice yoga, life is easier. When I don't, life is harder. So it comes down to very simple terms. The things that keeps me coming back to it is when I don't do yoga, I feel pushed and pulled more by the challenges and obstacles and difficulties of life. When I practice yoga, I feel like I have a tool in my hand and something like an aid that softens the intensity of it all. And with the mind in a more calm space, we can react differently. It's just like, again, martial artists. If you're sparring or something and you start to lose your focus in your mind, you've already lost. So if you can remain calm, even in the face of adversity, it helps. So yoga teaches us to be like the center of a storm, so we can remain calm in our central focus. And so yoga helps across the board, whether it's students that are stressed about an exam, somebody stressed about the economy, whatever it is. Doesn't mean we fix the problems, but we will react to them in a more sane and calm manner.
Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to learning a lot more in the rest of our time together.
Thank you, Doug. It's been a great pleasure for me as well. Namaste.
Excellent.